How can the offer stop? Who was there like Anu Aggarwal? Did Anu Aggarwal have a competition? I want to make people happy. And he looked at me and said, that's not a profession. I was struggling to live my life alone. So she said, you're alone. What do you do? I said, I model. She slammed the door on my face. We don't give to models. I would overcoat. Like highest model gets paid at that time. Highest model gets paid 10,000 rupees for an ad. So how about I quote a lakh? You know, becoming a star is a bit strange, you know. People who really stood by my side were my gay friends. The real love of my life is me. I love myself more than I love anybody else, and I always have. My profession is only acting. I don't have any other profession. I need films where roles make a difference, where roles are solid, not just like come do 2 item numbers. I can do all of that. I can look very pretty. I can dance the best. If the accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. I had become a sannyasi and I was going to live there serving them.
Hi, welcome to In the Ring. I'm in conversation with a wonderful person whose first article I ever did, I called it Bohemian Rhapsody. While her life may be a tribute to Bohemia, there's much more to her. She is a gold medalist in sociology from the Delhi University. She worked extensively on various social reforms. But most importantly, you may know her as the Aashiqui girl. From the world of Mahesh Bhatt and Mani Kaul to the world of Mani Ratnam and Savan Kumar Tak, Anu Aggarwal has been there, done that, bought the bakery, and lots more. Let's find out what she's up to today. I'm in conversation, like I said, with Anu Aggarwal, the gorgeous, gorgeous Anu Aggarwal. Thank you so much.
Pehle to namaste. This is my new normal. Um, and what can I say? I'm just thank you so much for having me here. Yeah, and I am absolutely delighted to talk to you after probably 30 years. The last I saw you was in my house in Worli.
Yeah.
So, Purani Yade Taza.
Yeah.
You know, it's that time for me right now. I'm very emotional about it, and it almost like kind of brings tears to my eyes because it's so, you know, but it's beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. I know I'll quickly take you back to your time in Delhi. You know, I'm guessing like every extroverted child, you did a bit of, extracurricular activities in school. You did your usual plays. What was it that, you really wanted to do in your teens before you became this hotshot ramp walk model and did that?
You know, this is pretty unbelievable, but my brother asked me this question, my elder brother, when we were, I think so he's 2.5 years older than me, and I think he was probably eight, 8.5, and I was probably 6. And he said to me, what do you want to do when you grow up? They used to like Big Brother and serious questions, throw them at me. He used to keep doing that. So I said, and suddenly I didn't know. And I was like, And I said, I want to make people happy. And he looked at me and said, that's not a profession. I want to be a chartered accountant. What is the profession you want? And I said, I just want to make people happy. And then I thought about it a while, and then I realized as time went by that that's what I really just wanted to do. And which is why I joined social work. And I said, no, I just want to study this and I want to do, I want to make the world a better place. I want to see happier, smiling people around me, not sad people. So, yeah.
How did social service change your life then? Social work.
Let me just bring this to you right here that my life has been extremely transformative. And there have been several big incidences of big transformations happening in my life. And social work was the first from what I know in my growing up years, in my teens. And one of the first things was that so my father had taken us to a movie. We used to see one movie every month kind of thing. We get to see a movie, and we were coming out, and I thought, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, you know, that man in the slum that I'm working for now, he can't really afford this film. And I said, and then it started to strike me that how much of their entire little money that they have and what their passion is for films, and how even for them to buy a 100 rupee ticket is a big deal. But they buy that ticket. I mean, these are people who don't even have tea and sugar at home. You know what I'm saying? And these are the people who are going to be watching. And I suddenly felt like, oh my God, I don't think I want to do this. I don't want to spend money on this. I just started feeling guilty for what I had and feeling like I wanted to do more for them. And that's why when I joined films, by the way, my entire thing was do meaningful cinema, do developmental cinema. What am I doing? Because if that guy is paying $100, then it better be worth his life, not just enjoyment and laugh a little bit and see something and see some drama and go home and cry again. But it should be something, and that's why Aashiqui happened.
But before I have to take a little before Aashiqui, how did you become this supermodel? And you were doing ram shows in Milan and Paris and America. I mean, you were almost signing up in an agency in New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonder. It's a wonder how it happened because I didn't plan for it, right? And I was just seen and spotted somewhere, spotted on in Jahangir Art Gallery. I was walking, and Sharmala, who was the choreographer, I didn't know her, and she came up to me and she said, "Oh my God, you've got a model's walk," and I said, "Oh, okay." And then she said, "Why don't you model?" And then I thought, oh my God, I'm a social worker. And, like, what am I going to do? Model and try and just look pretty? I don't know. And then she said, listen, so that's how modeling happened.
I remember Society magazine put you on the cover.
If Society magazine put me on the cover and said, India's first supermodel. That was the title. And I was thinking, oh my God, my parents in Delhi will look at this and say, "Arey, kya social work tha bhi? Kya ho gaya isko?" Suddenly, like I hope they don't see it. But anyway.
Suma Varghese had coined some term on the cover also, I remember. Unusual.
That is 1993.
Yeah.
Society magazine is before Aashiqui.
The first one, the first cover.
That was 88 or 89 or 80, something like that. And then I was just seen somewhere again and spotted, and suddenly I had like Mudra agency calling me up saying that Parmeshwar Godrej wants you for, Marvel, the soap. So I suddenly became a model. So, it just happened. I mean, I wasn't.
Was it fun days? I mean, did you make enough money? You lived on your own? Were those fun days? You traveled by train?
Oh my God, it was so much fun. I mean, I was so like almost proud of myself, that I would overcoat. Like highest model gets paid at that time. Highest model gets paid 10,000 rupees for an ad. So how about I quote a lakh? And see them jump off their seats, right? And that's exactly what happened with Marvel, and they jumped off their seat. And then I said, oh, and I thought to myself, I was expecting this, wasn't I? And I said, okay, bye. Because I was thinking I never wanted model anyway. And I walk out and they start calling me up and they're saying, no, come on, yeah. So the client said, we want Anu. So then you know how it is. The agency has to get Anu by hook or by crook. And then, we had over a week, we had 5 meetings because and I just kept walking out because from first they offered 5,000, right? First they didn't want to pay anything. New model, first job,
Yeah.
1 lakh, acha. So then it's, 5,000, 10,000, 20. By the time it came 25, I said, bye, I am not going to be meeting anymore, it's okay. I understand. You know, get a model you can afford. And then, so it went on like this. So that was my first ad. And then so suddenly I was like, who's this girl? After that ad, yeah.
And how is it like traveling by trains? And then were you obviously you had become famous enough. You were splashed on all the hoardings of so many ads.
I hated that.
Yeah.
I hated that. Because I just thought that how unreal is this? Because that girl standing there in the hoarding with all this makeup and all this camera lights and all of this glorious and glamorous girl. I'm not really that girl. I'm a simple person. I'm a social worker. I think of people and I don't know. So I was uncomfortable with it. But then I said, no, that's okay.
And then how did the international agencies sign you up?
Just, it's how it is. It's a small market. It's a small market. And in fact, when Chef's Indian Tonic was looking for an Indian girl, so they had auditions in all the big cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, etc., for like 3 months actually. And they called me for one of the auditions. So I went and then they chose me. So the thing is that it's just
So everything fell into your lap.
fell into the lap. I had, what my biggest struggle was? I was struggling to live my life alone. How do you find a paying guest? I don't have my parents here. I don't know anybody here. So, so I lived with my boyfriend and his mother for a while, but I was still looking for a place, right? And then I would go, like, there was a lady in on Nepensi Road. So I saw the flat and I went there and I rung the bell and she opened the door and she said, she looked at me and she said, where's your father? And I thought, how odd is that? My father's not going to come and live here. I live here. Anyway. No, anyway. So I said, he's in Delhi. So she said, you're alone. What do you do? I said, I model. She slammed the door on my face. We don't give to models. And so even just getting a place to stay was such a struggle. And then after which, when I started finally, when I got a house of my own, and by the way, I moved about 35 paying guests in 2 years. That was my modeling time.
Why?
Something or the other, we need the room. Oh, my son was away. It was his room. Now he's coming back. You go. Or a lady, I don't like the way my husband looks at you. So I was like, that paunchy uncle. I mean, like, please, please. All guys look at me, right? So what is the big deal? He also looks at me. So for me, it was like, I've got a room at least to stay in, to sleep in. But I didn't even ever speak with him. He never spoke to me. But she just imagined, I don't know what she imagined. And she said, don't like the way a lot of the houses were that there was a husband thing. The women just, this all the imagination. Like I don't know the guy at all. I've barely seen him. Maybe he's sipping tea in the morning from a distance kind of thing, or reading the newspaper. I've had no interaction with this guy whatsoever. But his wife has imagined something. I don't know what she's imagined in her head.
Her insecurity.
So suddenly, like at night, get out now. And so there were times where I was actually just roaming around at 10 o'clock with a bag and not knowing where I'll go. going
But
in and
you
saying
had a
that
boyfriend.
I was, but we had, I lived with him for a while, and then I said I'm moving out. Then I got one paying guest, right? And then he's not here all the time. He's also traveling, and then I can't like just, I just this whole thing of being independent and I'm going to be on my own and la la la, so सब तो धरा रह गया ना. So yeah, life was very difficult. And then in the middle of all this, then suddenly there are foreign shows happening. Now, when foreign shows are happening, now my one bag has become four. Where will I keep these bags? So then I'm reading the newspaper and saying, oh, can I keep it in the post office? Or can I keep it? Where do I keep it? I didn't have anybody here. And then I also, in the meantime, my boyfriend was upset because we went out to a party and I talked to somebody. And he was like, how can you be I think, what are you saying? I mean, like, you don't want me to speak? What do you want me to do? Like, sit in a corner at a party? Are you mad? What?
How long did you date him?
I had dated him for 1 month by then. 1 month is enough, right? So, anyhow, all these things. Because the men were so insecure. Men were so insecure.
Were they intimidated by your success?
So intimidation with success came later.
Okay.
Even before that they were. But yeah, with success, तो फिर तो खत्म हो गई बात. Now I just want to marry her right now because she's going to run away. That kind of insecurity started. And I mean, I've always, I've always thought that marriage is a very sacred thing, and children especially, bringing children to the world. I've always had great respect, even though I wasn't ever dying to have children, like a lot of my girlfriends were. But for me, I respected it a lot, and I thought that if I get children in the world, then I have to be a proper mother and look after them. Otherwise I bring children into the world.
True.
That was my thinking. And then I thought, like, suddenly Aashiqui happened, there's madness happening. Madness. There are people around my house, on my everything. I had
But wait, I have to stop you right there. So the story goes that the Bhatts chased you and chased you and you had said no to Aashiqui and they chased you and chased you for a couple of months before you actually. Is that story true?
That is true.
You were in New York, I think, right?
I was in Paris.
Tell us that story.
That story was, in fact, before Bhatts, there were three other people. So I had, by the way, so my idea was Paris. I was going to stay in Paris because they had chosen me as the special look there, and I was going to work in Paris and etc.
As a model.
And I had a boyfriend as well. So this was everything.
So you've never had a dearth of boyfriend. You always have a boyfriend.
So I'll tell you something that for me, I don't just see them as boyfriends and girlfriend kind of thing. I just see them as amazing game changers in my life because each and every relationship that I had it just took me so much forward. It made me understand so many things and realize. I mean, like, of course, a French man is totally different than, let's say a German. I mean, so.
Tell me specifically how they changed your life. Give me a specific instance. How?
No, because, I mean, just because the whole customs are different. Like, the French man could walk naked all the time, and I could walk naked, and he never even looked at me when I was walking around. Like, it was the dumb thing. At home. Yeah, it was the dumb thing. But I mean, if it was like somewhere else, like, guys reacted differently in different places.
So because of their progressive and permissive.
Yeah, because of that, it's like, how can you do that? Wear something. Indian guy. Wear some kapde pehno. Are, you are over in the room. There's nobody there. But yeah, so it's just a mentality. And then, of course, you learn about the food, you learn about fashion, of a place. You learn about the way they just treat you. It's just different. Like each country, guys. And of course, there's a differentiation in men, how they will teach you how they will reach out to you or how they will treat you.
Would you feel sad when the relationship ended? Like, who was the real love of your life?
They were all at that time.
But there must have been some real love of your life. Huh? You don't have to take names.
So the thing is that I actually realized the real love of my life is me when I started yoga. I love myself more than I love anybody else, and I always have. And anybody who says they don't love themselves, they don't know it yet. So, there's a really interesting story of an old king and queen, and I think it was Prasanjit, and his wife's name was Malaika or something. And they used to wake up in the morning at 4:30 and meditate, both of them, sitting in one place. And one of the days, he asked her. He said, after the meditation, he said, "What did you think today? What did you realize something? What happened in your meditation today?" And she says, "Yeah, I had a realization." And he said, "What?" She said, "I realized that I love myself the most." And this is an old story. And imagine how forward that the wife is telling the husband, "I love you are there, but I love me." That being me, right? The entire concept of be you, be me is like you love yourself. And he said, and then what he says is even more surprising. So what he says, मुझे बड़ा ताज्जुब हुआ कि तुमने मुझसे ये कहा, क्योंकि मैंने भी यही सोचा। अपने मेडिटेशन में मैंने भी यही सोचा आज. So the thing is that we all love ourselves, and I've loved myself the most.
Beautiful. But coming back to the Paris story, so while you were in Paris, you got this call from the Bhatts. I'm sure there were lots of voice.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't get a call from the Bhatts. In fact, I'll tell you who I got a call from. I got a call from Meera Nair.
Oh wow.
And she was making. Now I knew Meera Nair because a friend of mine was assisting her. So she said, "Listen, I've got a film for you, etc., and da 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 da." And I said, "I don't want to do films. I was in the modeling thing, and da da da." I've come back. So anyway, I came to pack up. I came back to pack up, and then a guy comes at 8 o'clock in the morning to my house. I'm living here in Bandra West, in a bungalow, old bungalow. And he came and he just rang the bell, and I was there walking around. So and he said, "I've come from, hi, Anu Aggarwal." Of course he knew me. So he said, "Anu Aggarwal." Because modeling made me famous, right? So I was famous before the thing. And
Bombay supermodel.
I was doing all the interviews and appearing on cover stories, right? All of that was happening. So, and in just 2 years of my total modeling time. So he said, "I've come from Yash Chopra's office. And check me out." So I'm looking at him thinking, Yash Chopra, who's that? Okay, so anyway, I just shoo him off and said, "Okay, I'll talk to you later, something, you leave your number, whatever, something." And then I called my father because Chopra is some Delhi guy, must be there, right? So I said, "Papa, your friend Chopra." He said, "What Chopra?" I said, Yash Chopra, that guy came to my. He says, "Idiot. Yash Chopra is a film director." I said, "Oh God, yeah, of course." He said, so that's how far away I was. I was in Paris for like 5 months, and I've come back. I'm like totally somewhere else. And that's that day, literally that afternoon, Bhatts called. And I said, "I'm going to Paris."
So you never went to Yash Chopra?
No, because Yash Chopra, then finally it was done. He never came back, and I never called him. And I wasn't going to do films. I was packing up to go to Paris. I was finishing things here, right?
Bhatts called.
And then this Bhatt called. And then I said the same story. I'm going to. So anyway, so he's pretty persuasive. No, listen to the story. I said, okay, fine, I'll listen to the story. And I thought I'll listen to the story and say no, right? At least you've shown respect. You listen to the story. He's calling you so many times. Fine. They called me, and finally I went and heard the story, and I had like a flash of light in my head. First of all, I was like, I'd gone there to say no, you know. And then I was sitting there listening to the story, and suddenly I had a flash and said, do it. And I said, oh my God, why? Where is this coming from? And then, of course, then I liked the idea of this girl. The character of the girl, she just wants to make it on her own.
It was modeled on his wife, no, Kiran?
I don't know. He told me it's modeled on me.
Because Kiran also lived in a sort of hostel and
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of scenes also which are also
from his life.
attached to his life, and you know how it is.
So did you have like a love relation? What did Mahesh Bhatt teach you?
So as far as Mahesh Bhatt was, he had written, he had really, I valued, you cannot even imagine the kind of respect and value I have for a director who has written a whole story. It's a big deal. For me, it's a big deal because I write, so I think that I value that, and I always want to listen, therefore. It's not about me. It's about I'm this and I'm that. No. It's about like, what is the director's vision? And I want to be true and fulfilling to his vision. Because the story is his, it's not mine. And I think that directors can see that and they value that. So I've always had very, very, very strong relationships with all my directors. And again, I've learned a lot from Mani Ratnam, for instance. Oh God, the way he works, it's just even the work ethics. How he works, how he would, it's a lot. And Mani Kaul. Now, all these guys have different styles.
There was also a lot of talk about your turbulent relationship with your co-star Rahul Roy. You guys didn't see eye to eye. You want to look back at that?
I don't hang out. Per se. I'm like the worst person to have, as if you think that you're going to like befriend me because I'm working with you. No, it doesn't work like that. Yes, if we have after our parties, or if we that's totally separate. Then I'm totally there. Then I'll dance and let's chat now and let's do this. But he was not I mean, I had met him at a friend's place before Aashiqui, in fact.
Yeah.
And a model friend's place. But we were not pals.
You all were not vying for Mahesh Bhatt's...
We were not hanging out.
Weren't you all vying for Mahesh Bhatt's affections?
The thing is, I'm not vying for nobody's affection. By the way, please, sorry. I want to do my work and I'm going to do it and I'm concentrating on that. I don't care who is, who's favorite or not, or if I am the favorite or not.
You and Rahul did Gajab Tamasha subsequently.
So the thing is that there was no hero for me. So this is how it went. I'll tell you how this went. So directors came to me, right? Or producers. There was also a South producer who had come. So they came to me. And that was an amazing film. It was a film of a girl who gets married, and finally goes mad. And then she enters this mental asylum. And the scenes of her in the mental asylum and everything, the half the film was
it Tamil or a Telugu film?
Tamil. And then eventually she dies. Eventually the end is that she is still in that asylum, and and finally her son or her husband or whoever comes to meet her after so many years, and she doesn't know him. So what I liked was the idea that it's not like, oh God, now at the end everything sab acha ho gaya, everyone's smiling, and no. It was like the conflict doesn't finish.
And then you did.
That's real life, right? Conflict doesn't finish.
You couldn't do that film.
I could. So anyway, they came to me. So then this producer came from Chennai, at that time Tamil Nadu. He came and he said, we want you to do this film. Acha, we know that you want to hear the script. This is the script. He showed me the script. Very straightforward and simple. And I said, yeah, I love it. And then he said, who should we take as the hero? So I said, I mean, what do you think for this role and this? No, he said, but somebody has to like be your height. You can't be taller than the hero. So I said, why can't I be taller than the hero? Why? What's wrong with that? He says, no, no, no. You know how it is. Society में accept नहीं होगा. I said, okay. So this we are talking like early 90s. Now everything is accepted. At that time it was a bit different, right? So I said, okay. So I didn't say anything. Then he called me the next day and after a couple of days and said, we'll take Rahul Roy. You just done Aashiqui also with him. And he suits your height. So I said, yeah, fine. That's how Gajab Tamasha, the same thing happened. They came to me, Ranjit, and they came to me and क्या करें हीरो किसको लें So that's how.
How come that South film didn't happen?
Because the director fell sick.
Oh.
So it was delayed and then he died in the
Passed away.
process.
Okay.
That was a big loss because it was a beautiful film. I have just waited for like really different and strong, good films, and that's like.
Did you say a no to a lot of films?
Yeah, obviously.
What were the kind of films
Because they were like the run of the mill rubbish.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Recall any of those?
Stupid films, stupid dialogues, stupid scenes happening, brainless.
So
There was so much of that then, and there's.
Did the directors say? Did the directors take offense when you said no to their films?
No, they're like, madam, acha, next time.
You recall any of the names of the films that you said no to?
No, I wouldn't, because
No?
they don't give the names, they just tell you. And I used to say this script, they call script, madam, abhi aap sign karenge, script तैयार होगी.
So how did?
I was like, why? They're like, अच्छा पैसे तो आप ले रख ले ये suitcase ये वाला like briefcase with money, cash and all, ये आप रख लीजिए, बाद में बता दीजिएगा.
Huh.
Right? Because they don't want money. Come, you take. I said, no, nothing doing. You get the script, then we'll talk. Take the money, go.
So how did the press react to you? They said, okay, a star is born, Anu Aggarwal and all of that. How do you deal with the attention, adulation, fame?
I must say here, to be very honest, becoming a star is a bit strange, it's very hard to understand, what that entire life is. And I'll tell you that here's where my, people who really stood by my side were my gay friends, because they, even like when I started modeling, and when I was being refused all these houses, and these are the guys who stood up for me. It wasn't the normal run around normal people. It was the gay people. The kind of support I got and acceptance I got from them, I didn't get from the normal society.
I remember reading purple prose about a lot of purple prose about you. Oh, she's a wild child. She smokes, she drinks, she parties. I remember a story where they said, oh, there's a good chance that she's bisexual, and all kinds of stories.
Right.
So how did you wrap your head around all of?
So I must say this, that I'm not gay, and I love men.
Oh
no. No, I love people, talking about yoga. But yeah, so the thing is this. So for me so I'm not from that community. And so for me to really actually talk about them is because I haven't been through the problems that they go through. And they go through a lot of problems. And, but they have been close enough to me to recount, and it's been horrifying for me to see the kind of non-acceptance they live through. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, they are my biggest inspirers. Because I said that, what am I complaining about? right? That my life is difficult, I can't do this. Look at this. They are facing rejections on every level. And they still stand up there and say, this is who I am. And if I want to wear, flowers in my hair and a bow, and I will do it. And I will walk like a girl if I want to. And that's big. That's huge. And I have so much respect for that. So I think that, yeah.
But coming to you, how did you deal with all the gossip press? And also, how did the men in your life react to your success? Were they easy with your success? How do they handle it?
See, basically, in a relationship, it is, see, there has to be a balance. So let's say when I met the guy, there was a balance because I wasn't famous. And he was probably a bit famous or whatever. Well, maybe I was a bit famous also, but I wasn't like. And then there's a tipping of the balance that occurs because suddenly you become like, because you are like people, everybody, you are this, wow, right? And so then there's a tipping of balance. And so this person, whoever it may be, it's very difficult for them to understand or appreciate it. And also on the same hand, the personal ego of a man, right? This girl's mine. She's only mine. Oh, that's you're like, that's a regular.
Did you ever date an
Very
actor? Did you ever date an actor?
No.
In the course?
It didn't happen. I hardly met any actors. All my look at Khalaika I did. There was no actor. Like I was always like being pitched alone. In Mani Ratnam film, I didn't have an actor again.
Let's talk about Mani Ratnam's film. Chandralekha the song became iconic.
Oh God, it was again a very difficult experience. No, okay, acting wise, it was perfect. There was no problem there. But we went when we were shooting Chandralekha. I don't think you know this, but I fell off the stage.
Wow.
Wow is right. So this is like on the second day of the shooting, and I was thinking all night and all that. I think that I was also
And PC Sriram.
I was, and with all this makeup and hair, that makeup and hair used to take 2 hours, and then it was difficult times anyway. And then I was on stage. So what happens is that when they take a close up, when you're and there are big cameras in front of you, and there's night, there's no light around you, right? So 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 they was like, okay, come on, now there's this headshot. They put you there, and they have these bright lights, and you look into the light. I always look into the light, right? So I look into the light. What happens is that you get blinded.
Of course, yeah.
So the lights went off, and I was dying to pee. Right, this is good. I'm like, oh God, when it gets over, I'll go. One of those things. And this light, they shut the light, and immediately I'm like, let's head. And there was no
Vanity.
The vanity was like 10 minutes walk and something in one little tent behind. So I went, and I quickly just started to, and I reached the edge of the stage, and I couldn't see it. And the stage was 40 feet high, and I tripped and fell. And you won't believe this is amazing. I fell on because I would have died if I fell on the floor. I fell on a huge, that fat trunk of a tree. Just that morning, they had come and shelled the trees. So this trunk, and I thought, oh, this trunk is my best friend. ये कुछ पिछले जन्म का रिश्ता था. He came just there to save me. And I fell straight, and the trunk cracked with my weight, and nothing happened to me.
No stitches, no nothing.
No, nothing. But then, of course, I think I had like some injury somewhere, so I had to go to the hospital next morning. But yeah, so this was
What
one
were
of
conversations you had with Mani Ratnam on the film?
So I used to smoke on sets, right? So money. smiling. He was always smiling when I'm smoking. Anu, think of the rainforest. So it's like, okay, fine. If you don't like the smoke, you can stand that side, sort of thing. But yeah, it was amazing actually because he's an intelligent guy. He's a very intelligent guy. He's smart, and he totally is sunk into the art, the craft, what he does. I mean, he looks into every little detail, even to like what button should be there on your shirt. He gets into designing, into the clothes and the costumes. I mean, he's just amazing. Amazing. I mean, it was amazing to have worked at that time. In fact, one of my, so I had advertising friends at that time, right? So one of the advertising guys was saying, I think it's this Prahlad. Plus, said, does he have two legs or four? It was like, money was like beyond, and so
Everybody in advertising was in awe of him.
was completely in awe. And you remember?
Completely. What about Rakesh Roshan? I remember Hrithik was an assistant on that set.
Yeah, it was.
And there was that funny song that you had, with there's a sort of Goanese song.
So you know what happened in oh God, so I've had accident now that I'm thinking I'm talking to every film I've had accident. So this designer has made like these, like normal saris and wears and normal clothes, like normal weather. Now you're shooting in Simla, where it's snow, right? So I was wearing this short dress, so my legs froze, and I'm wearing high heels. I mean, she's not even giving me boots, right? So I froze. My body froze, and so after which I was like, I had to be taken away and given whiskey and rum to drink at night and something. But yeah, so it was.
You remember Hrithik as an assistant?
Hrithik, yeah, but hardly interacted. I mean, he was there. He was a very, very shy and cute thing. I mean, like it's slim, cute, shy, and I just saw him. Maybe I didn't even. How many people do you notice? They were all men on set, right? At that time, there was no woman. There was not a single woman on set, except for me. We had 200 men. The only woman on set, even in Mani Ratnam film, even everywhere, the only woman on set I saw was my hairdresser.
Yeah.
No women.
Did you have to face any sort of misogyny or any sort of patriarchal attitudes, which, somebody said something and, the kind of sexism that was prevalent? I remember, especially in the 80s and 90s, there's a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got scared of me. No, that's what somebody else said. That they just look at you from a distance, but they're too scared to come to you and say anything.
So nobody made passes at you.
Nobody would dare. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just exuded that aura. But I think it started with me being in Bombay alone. You know what I'm saying? And being kicked out of these and not getting a paying guest and not having a place to stay, and then and having boyfriend issues because I became famous and I'm earning money. And then one of my boyfriends wanted me to make a joint account and so that he could use half the money. Yeah, all of that. And so then I had to leave. So I left in the middle of the night. Where do I go? There's no place to go to. So I went and sat on Churchgate station. And I still remember that. I think that's where it was the first realization I had, because I've gone out and I've sat on it, but I've not realized that.
And you were a star then?
No, this is before being a star. And I sat there and I said, so I'm saying all these learnings helped me when I became a star, right? Because I was already seasoned for this. And I'm sitting there and suddenly it struck me, oh God, because by now I was not thinking that I'm alone and what, etc., etc. And then suddenly I'm thinking, oh God, like I'm alone. And then suddenly I'm looking around, there are like 3-4 guys here, 2-3 guys here. It's like 11:30 in the morning at the station, And I thought, you're going to get raped. Oh my God, what do you think you're doing? You should have just stayed now. The guy is screaming or doing bad things. He's your boyfriend. You should just stay with him. Why are you behaving like you get out of the house, walk out, and all that? You can't. You're alone in this city, right? So behave yourself. And I thought, okay. And then I think, and suddenly, like something came to me and said, "Dare anybody come here?" you know. And I still remember. I just, became very straight and sat on a bench like this. And the guy started shying away. They started getting back. They would come close, but nobody came like, close to me. And that's when I knew that this is the power a woman has. Each woman has this power. This is what I'm teaching now. The self confidence raising. What am I doing in the slums? This is one of the things that I'm teaching them. Because I think it's time that I start teaching the young girls. I've been through all of this, right?
So did it make you vulnerable then that you were the single woman trying to, without parents, her? What? I mean,
the thing is that, yes, you're right. It would make anybody vulnerable. But the point is this: the minute I would feel vulnerable, I was told, but it's your choice. Who has asked you to stay alone? Kisne kaha? Your parents are there. They are looking for boys to have you married, right? They are there. They're saying, when are you coming? When are you coming home?
how did they handle your stardom?
So the thing is that they ignored it. They were like not interested. Like nobody in my family watches really what, like I told you, I have one movie in 2 months or something, that too. It's like my father used to watch a lot of, art films in Hollywood. So that was his interest. He was not interested in Hindi films.
What was your relationship with them? Was it turbulent? Were you the duck sheep? What were?
I was always a dark sheep.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they were just, I think that they just somehow or the other managed, no matter how difficult it must have been for them. I respect them for this, that they managed to be cool with me and be supportive. So whenever, if I needed them, they were there. But they didn't try to, like my father didn't fly here. Like one of my friends from Delhi, she moved to Bombay. I want to be on my own and become something, la la la. And the father flew and took her back. So what do you mean? Oh, you're going to be alone? बनना है क्या बनना है चलो वहाँ वहाँ चल के बनना to come back to Delhi. So that was the times then, yeah. Who was like their fathers won't allow. It is not allowed in families. But my father just told me one very clear thing. He said, if you want to become independent, don't come to me for anything then. He said this just to make me, not that he wasn't there. But he said, then you earn your own money and become responsible. I said, okay, fine. I'll do that. I'm one of the first taxpayers. I became a taxpayer when I was doing ramps and modeling 2 years before Aashiqui. A year before Aashiqui.
So, also tell me two things I remember very clearly. There was a lot of discrimination about skin. How did you deal with, like, a lot of casting agencies would not take dark skin models? And did you face any sort of racism or anything? No? That's
I mean,
lovely.
I wasn't there. I mean, it's like people came to me. And when they came to me, by the way, yeah, you're right. Actually, one of the shoots I was doing, and one of my first shoots, modeling shoots, maybe it was Marvel only. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Marvel probably. And we were in, near the Taj, that lane, opposite that club. No, what is that club? Radio Club. So they were shooting there. Anyway, so I've gone, I've reached and whatever, etc. And I'm sitting there. I'm sitting. This is the dressing room. I'm sitting in the dressing room. This new experience is happening, right? I don't know all this. I was a social worker working in slums until yesterday, right? So then this guy comes, makeup, and starts doing something to the face. Okay, I'm looking in the mirror. Suddenly I see the face is becoming white. So I asked him, I said, like, how is my face becoming white? Am I seeing right? I mean, like, he's looking. So he said, he just kept quiet. And then I said, and he kept on applying. I said, no, excuse me, just stop, please. I said, why is my face looking white? And he said, and then finally, it went on for a while because he wouldn't reply. And he just kept trying to like apply makeup. Like girls don't talk. You know what I'm saying? At that time, it's like, makeup kar raha hu, you keep quiet. And then he said, no, Anu, actually, we don't have your skin color makeup. Your tan skin makeup we don't have. We only have white makeup. So I said, what? Are you serious? Why? So he said, because the girls who are not fair want to look fair. And nobody wants to look tan. And it's not accepted in most places. I said, okay, fine. All right. Can you get it? I asked him. He said, no. Because at that time, he said, I get my makeup from London. And where is it going to come in a day kind of thing? Or it can't come. Can't come. We'll say it will take a long time. I said, okay, fine. No problem. I thought to myself, what to do? And I said, I'm not doing this. So I picked up my bag and I just walked off. And I'm walking off. Putting up now where they're putting up the set and everything. So I'm walking off. The creative director saw me with my bag. And I'm walking out. He came running. He said, where are you going? You want tea? You want coffee? Whatever. We'll order it. You don't need to go anywhere. I said, no, I'm going home. He said, you're going home? He couldn't fathom that at all. He said, what do you mean you're going home? I said, because they don't have my makeup, my color makeup. And he just looked at me like, what are you talking about? Kind of thing. I said, okay, no problem. I got a cab. I got out, got a taxi, and took off. Went home.
And you made your point.
And then they, of course, the agency Mudra. Phone calls started coming to the house. And so my boyfriend's mother was there also, right? So the mother was picking up the phone. She said, "ये क्या हो रहा है? ये सारा दिन phone कर रहे हैं." There's that. I said, "No, no, ignore it, ignore it." Finally, at night, he called up the makeup man, and he was full of joy. Anu, we are going to get your skin makeup. I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, I have a friend in London. It'll come by tomorrow." I said, "Fine, I'll be back in shooting." And in 2 days, it took 2 days finally. And 2 days, I went, and there was just tan skin makeup they applied and my skin color. And yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was like, I don't know why girls complain so much about, oh, it's like this. And, dark skin, usne ye kaha, usne in London, usne ye kaha, usne yahan pe ye kaha. There are a lot of the girls who are, I mean, at the end of the day, I wasn't there. I wasn't saying accept me. I was saying please reject me. This is me. You want to take me? This is it. Otherwise, no problem. I'll still wish you well. The world's an open place. There's so many girls who are fair. Why are you taking me? I mean, like I couldn't understand the logic. Right?
Yeah.
There were so many fair girls. Why are you taking me then? You already saw because I didn't put any white makeup when I came to meet you. I didn't even put any makeup when I met you. So you saw my skin color. So what did you think? That you'll make me white when I become what? What?
When you
What
did
was the thinking?
when you did this Mani Kaul film, it somewhere it was stock for all the wrong reasons. Everybody, the parrot and all of that, the stalking. I think it was called this. They said, "Oh, look at she's bared her breasts in the film, and there's the nude scenes." I remember, the gossip press picked on a lot of that. How did you react at that point?
I'll tell you something that first of all, I mean, all the acceptance, and this is something that now I have understood fully. But at that time, all the acceptance comes from within you. If you accept what you're doing, then you don't really care about what anybody else says. You care about what others say because when you're not sure, oh हाँ नहीं करना चाहिए था, वो कर दिया, वो मैंने इसलिए कर दिया क्योंकि, you know, all these thought processes are so fucking waste of time. So whatever anybody else said, there was still enough people. There was a guy who flew from Germany because the film released there, and he somehow found my address, and he came in a taxi and waited outside my house, below my building. And when came out, very respectfully he waited for a day. And when I came out, he came up and he said that, and he said, I'm your fan. I've seen the, and I was amazed. I was like, you saw my film in Germany. There was somebody who came from Cannes. There was somebody. So I mean, why would I get into the negative? There was so much positive happening, and my film released in Cannes. Everybody is talking about Cannes today. Today, Cannes is the dumb thing. I'm going to Cannes. She's next to Cannes. In 1994, 95, my film released there. I was telling people around me at Cannes, wo kya hota hai? Is that a man? Is it a person? Is it a place? Except for like my Vadias or, the Godrejas, I mean, that level of people, nobody knew Cannes. And my film released then, and I didn't even go to the red carpet because I was getting out of films at that time. So, the achievements of what I have achieved, and I would say I haven't achieved it because I wasn't even looking for it. But it has come to me and I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. So why get into the negative thing?
Why did you decide to step out? Did the offers dry up? I mean, I remember one of your last films was The Return of Jewel Thief with Dev
No,
Saab.
Return of Jewel was not my last film.
Huh?
In 1994, so I signed very few films. I've signed only 5 or 6 films, right? And my whole thing was I used to sign towards completion. For instance, I signed 2 films a year and say, okay, when these films are getting completed, then I sign the next. There were enough films. I didn't have to worry. I could have signed something. It wasn't a worry that film nahi aayegi, right? That wasn't a worry. So I would think, okay, fine, let me sign 2 films and complete this and then get on to the next. I signed Return of Jewel 3 in 94. They started shooting. They shot one scene with Devanand. By the way, my mother is a big fan of Devanand. She was so happy that I am doing this film and all that. And everything. Anyway, so I did this and I signed this film and they shot only that one song and then they disappeared. You know how it is. You know how films used to get shot at that time.
Yeah.
It was like, एक गाना शूट कर लो, फिर कुछ पैसे आएंगे, फिर आगे चलेंगे. That's why at that time 5-6 साल लगते थे to make one film.
Correct.
This was another thing. I would only sign a film if it was going to get completed within a year. Otherwise, and most films didn't have that. I signed this and we shot this one thing and then they disappeared. That's it. And then I had signed another film with Sudhakar Bokade for that year. There were 2 films I had signed. Return Jewel Thief and getting his...
Khalnaika was also around that.
Khalnaika 93 khatam ho gaya.
Okay.
This is 94.
Mm-hmm.
Khalnaika year was Tirda and Khalnaika together. Like 15 days. And
there was this great war between Khalnayak and Khalnaika.
That was
the media war. Sanjay Dutt versus Anu Aggarwal.
So this happens. These 2 I signed. Sudhakar Bokade again. एक scene shoot किया and he had booked 2 days every month for a year. Wow. So I told my agent, what the hell, how can you do this? He said, no, anyway, now whatever, anyway. And then again, one thing he shot, then he disappeared. And then after which, he started threatening. There was all this like the Underworld and all that happening, na? So he started threatening कि उठवा लेंगे और ये कर लेंगे वो करवा लेंगे and all that. And I just like I think that was the time. That was the complete fitting. I was like, where the hell am I? I mean, like, where am I? Like these kind of guys, what are these goons around me? Uthwa lenge, what the hell? My dates are booked. I'm coming and shooting with you when all the dates that I have, committed to you. But you disappear. And then you come after 6 months and say, कि अभी मुझे date चाहिए. मेरा date का जो मैंने date दिया, you've destroyed all those. So I've sat at home all those months because you didn't have whatever. You were not in touch. Nobody could get in touch with you. Right? And now you're saying that if I don't show up, you're going to have me put the, you know, woogly on me and somebody will come, उठवा लेंगे और ये करेंगे. What rubbish? Who wants to get into this kind of rubbish talk? Where am I? I don't want to do this. That was the time. And in any case, I had completed the film. That Return of Jewel Thief also had disappeared. One song they shot, they disappeared. So there were no new films. I had already completed all of them because I will never leave a producer in lurch. Right? And that's how I got out. I got out in 1995 when my film released in the Cannes. I didn't even want to go to the red carpet. I was like, I just want to get out. I just want time off this industry.
Were you disillusioned and that's how
I
you
was,
went?
I was more than disillusioned. I was like, this is just not my path anymore. And then I also, by the way, I will always review things. कितने पैसे हैं मेरे पास? Look at my bank account. Okay, fine, you're fine. Which are the directors? If I walk out now, what am I missing out on? Right? So I reviewed, I worked with Mani Ratnam, Mani Kaul, Mahesh, Bhatt, Savan Kumar Tak, Rakesh Roshan. Right? So I've done these guys. Is there another director you can see who you really want to work with? No. So what am I doing here?
But did the offers dry up or were they
No,
still?
the offers never stopped. How can the offers stop? Who was there like Anu Aggarwal? You tell me. Did Anu Aggarwal have a competition? Tell me.
I mean, of course, there were the Madhuri Dixits and all of that. Everybody was there.
Anu Aggarwal was Anu Aggarwal. Anu Aggarwal was not doing the role Madhuri Dixit or Sridevi were doing. Sridevi was the top lady at that time. Madhuri Dixit was second. Right? But the kind of films they did, Anu Aggarwal didn't do. Right? Anu Aggarwal didn't do Choli ke piche, Choli ke aage and whatever. I wouldn't do it. Not because of anything else, not because any moral compulsion. It's just not my style. It's not my style. And plus, I need films where roles make a difference, where roles are solid, not just like come do 2 item numbers. I can do all of that. I can look very pretty. I can dance the best. I can do it. I don't want to do it. Right? So, at this point, what is there for me in this industry? And by the way, a very amazing thing happened when I was doing shooting. We shot, oh God, it was such a beautiful experience. I'll tell you, that was another thing why I gave up everything else. We shot with a foreign crew and Mani Kaul in Neemrana, which is such a beautiful place, owned by a gay couple, amazing guys, and who have revamped the entire fort into something so amazingly, internationally modern. And of course, I had a palace I was staying in. So it's like they had their palaces had names like Chandra Palace and something else palace. So I had different palaces, Moon Palace and Sun Palace and Tree Palace and whatnot palaces there were. So I was staying anyway. So when I shot that film with the ease, everything was worked off in advance. Everybody knew where they were to stand. Everyone knew where the cameraman exactly knew where the lights. There was no talking. It's not like you get on set, ab dekhenge. No. They already knew that the day before. So when they came on sets, there was music and people were dancing. And the work was going on. because everyone knew what they had to do. Now, this is another thing. And I thought, oh my God, this is the way to work. This is the way to work. And then, of course, it was ranked, it was it was shot on a 1.85 format, which is a different format than I shot on. A different kind of film. It was in Rank Studios, London. It was processed, etc., etc. And I thought, if I want to work, I want to work like this. But then, do I want to work right now? No, let's take a break. Don't jump. Hollywood came at that same time, 95, 96. I've taken off. I've bought myself a ticket, world class ticket. I've gone here, there, and everywhere. That's when, in Los Angeles. So Oliver Stone was here in India, and we ended up meeting at some lunch and some dinner or something, something, something. And he just looked at me and said, "You are a character." He said, "A story has to be about you." And I thought, wow, because he was an amazing director, the kind of films he's done, and I knew, and anyway, so then he said, "When you come to LA, call." And I said, "Oh," and I thought it won't be soon, but it happened sooner than I thought. And I was in LA and I called, and he said, immediately his assistant came online. He came and he said, "Hang on one second," and she said, "Listen, it's his birthday today, so this is the place." Immediately gave me an address. Get there, dinner. And I thought, wow, it must be like film, big dinner, nothing. 5 people on the table. And one of the people was from ICM, International Creative Management. And the next thing I know, the next morning I get a call from ICM. And I go to the ICM. Wow, with the shower, with the fountain outside, what a building. And I thought, this is how films are made, right? This is how agents are. This right? This is 1996 I'm talking about. And I went and met the guy in the number 3 of the agency, and I asked him, I said, but on the same hand, let's look at the reality. I've always looked at the reality. What is the reality? What is Hollywood really, right? It's blonde girls who top. We're talking 30 years ago. It's not like today where you have girls from all over the Latinos and no, dark hair, black hair, brown hair. This was not the scene. All these girls were second side roles at that time. So I already knew this. So I was like, why are they calling me? Do a second role. Not going to happen. so so I sat with him and I listened to him and then I said, you know, I'm in my country. I'm a household name and I love my country. And he said, yeah, I know, because they have heard, right? So that's how they've come. And then I said, what kind of role would you be able to give me? So he said, no, nothing. We'll do meet directors, we'll spend a month, you'll go meet directors and you see this, that, and the other. And I thought to myself, I'm not blonde and I'm not going to be blonde. I have this whole thing of I don't want to be fair skin, I don't want to be blonde. What else? So, and then in any case, I'm getting out of film. And I was meditating. Meditation I'll tell you something, it has not just calmed my mind, but it has shown me the way. Because, each one of us has come here, is born on earth to do something, and we are not even aware of it. And I wasn't aware of it. Till I started to meditate and I started, no, this is not your path. Get out. And sure enough, I've come back to India and I told them, I said, I'll get back to you, kind of thing, Came back to India and I was taken to a yoga guru had come and I went to the talk and things happened there. I had certain experiences. Just sitting there, he was on stage teaching a meditation and I had certain experiences with my body and my mind. And I just said, okay, this is what I'm doing. Went into yoga.
So you joined a yoga in Bihar?
97.
In Bihar?
Bihar School of Yoga. That was the only international yoga.
So how long were you there?
I was there forever. I mean, because I came back and I had the accident. I was there from 97. I was supposed to come back after the teacher's course, which was 4 months. but I didn't come back for a year and a half. And I was just, it was I was learning so much. I was learning about me.
Let's talk about the real accident that changed a lot of things. There was this Gauri. I'm not going into any details, but you were in coma for 29 days, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of series of surgeries, and obviously you had to restart your life. You were semi-paralyzed. How did that change? You want to quickly go through that phase?
Yeah, the thing is that I'll tell you something that there's so much that can be said, and I have also written uh, I've written a memoir in which I had written about all the breakages and the failings, so to speak, of my body and my mind and my senses. The first, evening that I woke up, I saw after the coma, it was a full moon night, and it was 6 o'clock. I was in Breach Candy Hospital, and I looked, and there was this from my bed. I opened my eyes and I saw this big moon. And I thought, what is that? And then as time would go by, it was light. This was light. Okay. Then the sun. It was a different light, but that is also light. And then we are light. And there was like so many realizations I had.
Were you able to speak? How long
For
did it take?
years.
No?
My face was half paralyzed. So the tongue was paralyzed. Tongue actually has taken 24 years of slow journey, but I still been talking. I've been giving, TED Talks and, from 2014, right? Nothing would stop me, but I'm just telling you this condition. Broken, 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 broken.
How long did it take to get to your feet?
No, nothing to be, it's not just feet. It's also like to get my mind in
How
the
do you
working
get your
order.
mind over matter?
So the thing is that I'm telling you that this is a very interesting thing, and this is, I don't know, a lot of people who don't meditate might find it difficult to understand. But let me tell you one thing, that you are two things inside you. One is you outside. I am. This is the room. This is the sky. Right. My name is this. An identity, a nationality, which I've lost all these things.
You had become Anupriya at that time, right?
No, I had no name.
No?
The inside you is another you, which is actually the Atman you, where this is a transcendental you, where actually all the bliss resides. I got to that. Now check this out. When you get to that point, there are no limits. There is infinite possibilities of what you can do. How do you think I am well today? I am in well by getting in touch with that part of me, which is infinite, which has no ending, which cannot be born and cannot die.
So you teach yoga to people?
Yeah, so I teach, that's my foundation. So one of the things, and now we have many different projects. We are just going to probably tie up with the United Nations. I had a meeting yesterday. So I'm very busy with the foundation work, and I have very full days, and I'm writing. So I finished my second book, and I'm listening to some scripts, film scripts, movie scripts.
Aashiqui 2 is being remade. So my first question is, were you paid handsomely for Aashiqui?
Oh God.
Somebody told me you still had to be paid your dues for
I
Aashiqui.
still, yeah, did you hear that? Yeah, but that's true. I got about like 60% of the money.
Will you be making an appearance in Aashiqui 2?
Aashiqui 3 now.
Yeah, Aashiqui 3, yeah.
Probably, yeah, that's a good idea. I think I should fish on that.
So, when did you decide to I mean, obviously you were traveling so much, when did you decide to come back to Bombay and, restart your life?
Actually, the thing is that man thinks that he makes all the decisions. And I have realized that that's really a very foolish thing to think, because things happen, and if you believe in the divine providence, then you take up whatever when it appears to you, and you know when to take up what to take up. And it's just, I think that like that's what I'm saying, that if the accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. I had become a sannyasi and I was going to live there serving them. I already had a program that I was going to do on old people and children, my two favorites, in on teaching them, especially the ones who, like the old people who are sick in the hospital, so in the village. So I was going to serve them, and I had already started getting little girls to bicycle and all of that stuff. So I was working with the girls, having a lot of fun and making them laugh and healthy. So I was loving it. This is my life. I never thought I'd ever come back. My head was shaved. I didn't
So
have hair.
did you take like a full-fledged sannyas, and where did you live there?
What is a what
A
is
sexy
a
sannyasin.
sexy? Yeah, okay, fine. I wrote a poem on that.
Really?
Something which went like something which talked about like a gown. I'm wearing a gown with my cleavage showing. My cleavage shows. I mean, something like that. Yeah, right. No, the thing is that these are all like you don't think of these things. These are mundane things, sex and all the stuff. No, really. It's when you get into the higher reality, it's you know did you know that it's you have chakras in your body, right? You have
Yeah, but
chakras. Did you know that the feelings for sex and that pleasure reside only in the lowest three chakras? And when you start to transcend, then a time comes where you are like, if there's anything called sex, it is with the divine.
so
It's
you
like
don't feel desire.
that desire.
When you see a hot man, you don't
Who
feel
knows?
idiot.
Who knows the future?
But do you miss a companion?
Huh.
Yeah.
I literally think this the word come back. I mean, like, who's coming back? I'm always here. I mean, like, there's no come back. It's just that doing I wasn't doing films because I was doing something else, which was a spiritual reality. But I'm there. This is my home. My profession is only acting. I don't have any other profession. Rest of that is charity. And thank God I can do charity because of this.
Beautiful. You teach slum kids and
Yeah.
that, huh?
Yeah, I have a foundation running. Yeah. It's more than that. It's more than just teaching the slum kids. It's so we got it registered with the government in 2017. And then we got ATG and 12A in a year, seeing the work that we were doing. So it's completely non-profit. We cannot earn anything, which for me is so limiting because I'm so self-made, right? So like, what do you mean you can't? No, but that's the way it is. And so it's donation, it's community work, which is nice. Get people involved. Good work. Do some good to the public, to others who don't have as much as you do. Do something for them. And yeah, so it's great. And we've had projects, and we have awareness building projects. One of the biggest projects. I also made fun yoga. And then my lawyer said, make it Anu Fun. I said, like, why put my name? It's yoga. Yoga doesn't have a name. He said, no, you need to do that. So in that I have, because I think yoga has to be modernized. We have to think of yoga in all terms of our living today. So which is your spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, very important, emotional, financial, environmental, all these things are included in that. So I have people training people and all this stuff. And now we are doing, so there are lots of projects. Now we are starting a project on obesity, because obesity is rising. In the last 2 years, it's doubled in the women in India.
Nice to see that you're doing so much interesting work. Thank you, Anu. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful afternoon. Thank you
And
so much.
for me, it's so amazing to reconnect.
Yeah.
It's lovely. Thank you.
And I have an audience here which wants to ask you a few questions.
Hi, Anu. You said that you learned Kathak as a child. What are some of your memories performing on stage?
The thing is that I was too young. I was 7 years old, so I would have not known about other dancers. But I, later on, I made friends. Like, I had friends, Satara Devi, I met when I came to Mumbai first, and she was an amazing Kathak dancer. What spirit! So yeah, all through and through, I think for me it was always connecting with my own self, because this dance is it just gets you in touch with yourself. Yeah.
And how long did you learn Kathak?
I nearly completed Visharat, but then I couldn't because I got into the state basketball team. So I didn't have time. I used to go to school, so I didn't have so much time in a day. I had too many extracurricular activities to do, yeah.
Hi, my question is what advice would you give young people who are chasing fame?
Depends who the young children are. If they're boys, if they're girls, if they're coming from rich families or if they're coming from poor families, slightly different advice. But if you were to ask me in one line what advice I'd give, I just say believe in yourself. There's no limit to what you can achieve. And never forget that, especially in the hardest of times. Just always remember that you can surpass it all.
During all your work in the foundation, was there any particular moment which was specifically moving?
Every moment is a moving moment, and it's not just moving. It's something that brings me so much joy because it's like reaching out to people who are ignored, you know, and for being especially in my platform where I am whatever an achiever or whatever sense, but coming from here to then go and give them same kind of respect that I would give to people from rich classes, you know. So I think that to be able, for me, it is so self-fulfilling for me to reach that point where I can be as uh, equal. In you talk of equal rights, then you also need to give them. And women better need to realize that it's not only about getting equal rights to men, it's also giving it out to other people. And what better than slum people?
Hi Anu, so were some of the people from the industry who remained your friends and you were in touch with after you left the industry?
After I left the industry, who was in touch with me? The thing is that I was invisible after that. I was not here. And nobody knew where I was, which is why there's such a big confusion. Everyone keeps still thinking that after accident I went to yoga, right? And know one thing, that if I was in the city, there's no way I would have been quiet. The press and the media wouldn't have left me. So there's no chance that you will not see me or hear from me in 10, 6 years or 5 years. It's not possible. It means I wasn't there. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you have any role models? Like everybody said, oh my God, she reminds me us so much of Zeenat Aman and Parveen Babi. Did you have any role models?
My role models was, my biggest role model is Paramhans Yogananda, whose book I read in my grandfather's library when I was 4 years old. I couldn't understand it, but I used to just keep looking at that picture and spend like hours, in awe. He's my biggest inspirer.
But you had no movie, there were no movie icons, no idols,
No,
no.
not really.
And also, you didn't have any friends among your, like you said, obviously you didn't, but didn't you never really hung out with any of the movie actors,
Because there was, where was the time?
like Pooja Bhatt, I mean,
No,
Mahesh,
where was the time, you tell me? 91 to 94.
three.
And plus I was doing half the movies. Mani Ratnam's film is being shot in Chennai.
Correct, correct.
This one is shot here. Khalnaika was shot in Delhi. I was hardly here. And then even when I was here, I was shooting. Or I launched MTV. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I launched MTV in, people don't know. I mean, a lot of people, oh no, but oh, OAMTV people don't know. Like they're telling me, oh no, MTV was, what is OA? So I said, OAMTV was the show that launched MTV, bloody hell. You don't even know that. And that I was I mean, I went through an interview for that, by the way. I was a
Very
movie
popular
star.
VJ.
What a show that was.
Yeah.
All over the world, when I went, there were people who come, somebody came up to me in Hong Kong, and an Indian couple at a bar where we were hanging out with Steven Spielberg and all these people. And this person said, "Wow, you made us proud of India." And I said, "Wow, really great."
How long did you your stint as a VJ? This is after Aashiqui, right?
Yeah, this is 1993.
So you did it for about a year.
So I was so in the day I was shooting the movie. What were you shooting at? Khalnaika. And at night I was doing Oe MTV in my jeans, rugged jeans and whatever. Even like I think Shubhade calls me, she says call me Anu, and what is she doing in these kind of rugged clothes and this and that and the other. But yeah, that was a style. Yeah, that was a style. I got interviewed by, and that's when I got interviewed by New York Times and LA Times and everything. And that was another game changer for me to understand how the journalists there was so different than the journalists I'd met here. Just opening up the international circuit for me, and I admired it so much. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
I love clap.